Good morning. Welcome to New York Viewpoint. I'm Michelle Charlesworth. This morning, you will meet the author of a new book with a very good information about how to keep your pet healthy. We're also going to bring you a dramatic new edition at the Queens Botanical Garden, which is a showcase for green architecture and sustainability. But first, we're going to bring you an amazing story. You can kind of hear him in the background. It takes us into the world of pediatric surgery and premature infants. It all started with a little boy who was born on February 12th, 2007. Several surgeries later, we're very happy to report that this story has a happy ending, and he came home 3.5 months later on his real due date. Please join me in welcoming Robert and Susan Stone with special guest Griffin.
Hi, thank you, Michelle.
Dr. Keith Kensler, Director of Minimally Invasive Surgery at Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for crying, Griffin.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Robert and Susan, let me start with the parents. Can you tell me, how early was little Griffin born? How old is he now? And how early was he born? What did he weigh?
Right now he's about 17 months old, but he was born at about 24, 25 weeks gestation. So, and he weighed 1 pound 4 ounces when he was born.
So just to remind people, you go 40 weeks to term.
Right. Yes.
So just over halfway.
Just over halfway.
And he weighed 1.4 pounds?
1 pound 4 ounces, like 570 grams.
Wow. And you say he's 17 months now.
Mm-hmm.
Is he really, is that since he was born, or should he really be younger than that?
He's more like sort of a 14-month-old baby by his due date.
Okay. Tell me how he's doing these days.
He's doing great. He's a little fussy today because he missed his nap, but usually we got a good boy on our hands.
He's being great.
Yeah, all
He's
thanks.
being wonderful.
Thanks.
He's being great.
He's doing extremely well. I mean, Dr. Kensler will tell you the battles he's been through, but he's off on his own. Excuse me a second.
Tell me how many surgeries he has seen in his very short life.
Yeah, I'd say he had a collapsed lung, so we inserted a tube to reinflate his lung. That was his first one.
Was that at birth, or was that after he was born?
Just after he was born.
Okay.
The day after he was born, he perforated his intestine and required a drainage procedure that day. He had a persistent connection between the main artery coming out of his heart and his pulmonary artery, which needed to be closed by a cardiac surgeon. We later reconnected his injured intestine. Did I miss any surgery?
I think you got it all.
So how many is that in total?
Probably 4 or 5
4 or 5.
major procedures on him.
Dad, tell me, we're seeing pictures of how adorable, how tiny he was. How small was he, just to give people an idea?
He was about 1 foot long, but incredibly thin. 1 pound 4 ounces and 1 foot long. He really had no body fat whatsoever. So, and his skin was sort of paper thin. So, he was bright red when he was born. You could sort of see straight through.
One of his legs is now.
Yeah, he was about this chunky.
From the knee down. That's about that's what his size was.
Wow. What is his prognosis at this point?
It's excellent. He's sort of met every challenge.
All the milestones
and jumped over every one of them.
Really?
All the things that happen to premature kids. Luckily he's been able to successfully beat all the odds, and so now at this point I think his prognosis is terrific.
He's completely normal right now. He's exactly where he should be for a 40.
He seems like it.
Yeah.
What do you think has really helped him to fight these odds?
That's a great question. I mean, if we could answer that question, we'd let every family who aren't so lucky know. But I think a lot of it is timely medical care, great nursing, terrific neonatologists at Morgan Stanley, doing the right operations at the right time, and a lot of love and support from his family, who never left his bedside for 103 days.
I think, if I can answer that as well, I mean, I think Griffin was obviously very strong and had a real strong will to live. And we were just so fortunate that, he was in one of the best NICUs in the world,
Mommy, one thing that is so wonderful about childbirth is that you get to touch your baby right after.
Oh, yeah.
Were you able to actually have physical contact with him?
No, not for, I guess like 3 weeks afterwards. Oh no, that's when we did kangaroo care. When they were able, they let us stick our hands through and touch his hand, and his hand fit on your fingertip. I mean, it was so small. And then 3 weeks later, they did something called kangaroo care. Oops. And
That's okay.
Thank you. And they let us hold him for the first time, and you know, the nurse, Amy, who's amazing, took him out. It takes a while to take him out of the incubator, move all the tubes. Then they rest him gently on your chest, and they say that it really does so much for the baby and them bonding with you and them just behaving, you know, like giving them, you know, love and things that nurturing that you would give a baby if, you know, if you were able to touch them.
Why is it called kangaroo care? Just because it's the mommy having contact with the baby?
I think
like
so,
the pouch?
yeah, like
Yeah.
the pouch,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
So yeah, and that was such a special, amazing moment, you know.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give to parents out there or grandparents, aunts, uncles, who's, you know, they've got a premature baby in their family right now?
I would say, I'm gonna cry. Just to never give up hope. Because he's just, he's living proof that miracles happen, and just be strong and just know that don't give up. Don't
Because were there times when it was really touch and go? Yeah.
There was one time after Dr. King performed his intestine surgery when, you know, his kidneys stopped working for a couple of days, and he became very, very sick. And I guess, you know, there's no reason why he got better after that, except he just decided to get better himself, you know.
March of Dimes helped you guys out?
Yeah, we help them out too.
March of Dimes it helps out all premature babies by raising money for research and all the rest of it. And while Griffin was still in hospital, he raised $17,000 for March of Dimes.
Look at these pictures. I'm sorry, he raised how much?
$17,000 while he was still in the NICU. So we were kind of proud of him for that.
A lot of support and love, and we're just so thankful to everybody that took care of him and everybody who loved him and said prayers and lit candles, because it all worked.
It worked, right?
It totally worked. You know, I mean, and you know, we're not alone. I mean, there's parents every day in the NICU that deal with this every single day. And like I said, if I had to say one thing, just never give up hope, and always like pray, and have your family and friends pray, and just believe that your baby's going to be okay, because you know, it's
look at him.
magic. I know. He's a miracle, you know, and he's lucky to be here, but I think we're even luckier to have him, you know.
Well, thank you, Griffin. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Robert.
Thank you.
Dr. Kessler, thank you so much. Great story.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Best of luck.
Yay!
That's right. Let's clap for the end.
Yay!